Hey guys, it's Vanessa with Farm Girl Gardens and Market, and we are preparing for a hard freeze tonight. We are expected to get down to about 30 degrees for a good 6 hours. And since we've got some new fruit trees in the ground, we just want to go ahead and protect our orchard, and I want to take you along with that. So kind of the products that I use quite a bit and just a whole bunch of different applications are hog panel. Hog panel is typically $1 to $1.50 per foot. You get it in 50-foot rolls. It'll cost you around 50 bucks, and you can just use it a ton of ways on the homestead. Another thing is this 5mm plastic. You know, I've had actually this particular plastic sheeting for almost 5 years at this point. So if you're taking care of your things, they'll take care of you. And I also like to use a lot of the off-season supplies. So I've got a young Fuji apple here. I'm going to take you with me to show you kind of what I've done to help support it through this freeze. I've got the hog panel cage that I've created around it. And then I also use a lot of pop-up greenhouses over the years. They are kind of a 1 to 2 year lifespan, but I always try and keep all of the parts that come with it so that I can either swap them out if anything gets broken or just use them in different applications. One of them being these little shelves that come with those greenhouses. Those are just really handy. You can use them a ton of different ways as trellis or as caging for things like this. Another thing that I have is just these pool noodles. I've just used the actual welded wire cage as the outward support to create my brace of pool noodles. Wrapped it in this 5mm plastic, and then I've got it anchored underneath with some bricks. And another thing that a lot of people do in Texas, because we're extra, we really don't get these hard freezes, and when they do happen, they happen without any ability for our plants to acclimate. So Christmas lights are a great application, to string them up over the plastic, trap some of that heat in. But if you're out on acreage like me and you don't have access to power, you can also use these solar lights, and they will, if you have enough of them directed at it and it's close enough, they actually will give you about 1 to 2 degree difference. So everything helps. Another thing that I've got going over here is just kind of a quick DIY job. I have a little baby fig tree that I really should have moved earlier. Since I did not, I had to think up something quick, and that looked like using a Dollar Tree laundry basket to create some of the structure, and then underneath that just a goat feed bag. This material is great to work with if you have hens, dogs, or goats and you get it in this kind of feed store plastic material. Go ahead and hang on to that. There's just a ton of applications for it. As a master composter, I really am committed to finding ways that we can sustainably reuse our materials, and so this is just $1 worth of material and reusable plastic, and I didn't have to spend any money buying more plastic sheeting. So another thing that you can do once you've got these wire cages from your hog panel is you can reuse any type of old bedding. This is just an old frost cloth that I've had over the years to create some insulation. Again, kind of the basic principles are that we're trying to create a buffer zone between our plant and the outside air, and we're trying to trap as much ambient air within that space so that we can get some protective heat effect from that. This is actually one of those pop-up greenhouse covers from a greenhouse that I still use. As you can see, it's in really good condition, but since I don't have the greenhouse up, I'm using it to help protect this plant. Got my chickens behind me, so if you hear them or see them, that is just a chicken free-for-all out here. Another thing that you can do is if you have a plant that's a little bit higher than what your cage is just sticking a T-post or any type of vertical support that you can, and then going ahead and wrapping the panel cage with your 5mm plastic. 5mm plastic can be picked up anywhere from Home Depot to Lowe's. You can even order it on Amazon. It's good stuff. Reuse it year after year, and it really can be helpful. This is a cage that I have got set up, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pop another one of those disposable greenhouse or temporary greenhouse covers on it. I actually have a ton of those because I've been using them for over a decade at this point. if you have just, more trees than supplies, I had to get creative. This is one of those kangaroo bags. They're a collapsible yard waste bag. I love them. They're easy to store and they're easy to clean. But another way that you can use them is actually just to pop them on top of a cage to get you some more height, because I had run out of my T-posts. I am going to go ahead and throw more plastic 5mm sheeting on top of this, but then this one will be good to go. And then the very last one that I want to show you is just another peach tree that has grown a little bit bigger than expected, and to protect it, what I have done is just thrown another one of these disposable, I keep saying disposable, they're not disposable, they last about 1 to 2 years, but this is no longer good enough to be a greenhouse, but it still works great as, frost protection. So something else that, I didn't mention earlier is that you're trying to trap as much heat or create as much ambient temperature differential from the outside air. And so one of the ways that you can do that, in lieu of having Christmas lights or solar powered lights directed at your setup, is to actually use some active compost. Active compost is breaking down, and as it's breaking down, it's releasing that thermal energy into the environment. So if you've got it mounded up in the base of your tree, and you also have that plastic 5mm sheeting over it, you can actually get a pretty good change in temperature. I've actually tracked it in the past as much as 5 degrees. And so back here, I actually have a whole bunch of active compost because we're building these berms. And so I'm gonna go ahead and top dress some of these mounds so that I can get a little bit more protection when the frost hits. So I hope that that has been helpful. I hope you have time to go out there and just check on your tender plants, throw some covers over them, harvest all of that basil, because unfortunately it's just not going to taste the same after a hard freeze, and there's a good likelihood that you would lose it anyway. So I hope that there's some pesto in your future, and until then, I'll see you next time. Bye y'all.